Well, you know, the lineage of the Nanticoke Indians goes back hundreds of years to parts of Delaware and Maryland.
And the Nanticoke Indian Museum in Millsboro showcases much of that heritage, and that's where we find Delmarva Life's Brian Spiros this afternoon. Brian, this is an important museum to Delaware.
You know, Jimmy and Lisa, it is. The Nanticoke Indian Museum is actually the only Native American museum in the state of Delaware, so it holds a lot of importance. And I actually want to introduce you now to Morningstar, who is a docent here at the museum. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
You guys have a lot of stuff here, which we're going to get to in just a second, but explain to us what the museum is all about.
The museum is a cultural event, the past history of our elders, and they was passed down to us. So we cherish them very much.
And a lot of things in here. The museum was open in 1984, so we're going to show people some of the stuff that's in here. You guys basically have two rooms. We're in the second one. Explain to us some of the stuff that's on display over here.
We have a jingle dress, two forms of clothing. They're called regalias. Jingle dress, and it has 365 jingles on it. And then also we have buckskin dress that I wear during our ceremonies.
So a lot of stuff, and it shows kind of the garb from past to present. People can come in. And when would you wear something like this, like your dress?
When we have powwows or a gathering.
You would wear those?
Yes.
There's also a lot of different tools in here that show people what Native Americans used, or when it came to the corn and all types of stuff, how innovative they were with everything. And one of the other things that you guys have here on display is a large display of all different types of animals. A lot of people know Native Americans, when they killed an animal, they used all of it. And explain to us some of the animals here, what they were also used for.
The turkey was used for the bustle on the back of the men's back, and also the fan of the turkey was used for fans. We used the meat preserved for the winter. The deer was used for my dress. It's called a deer skin, and we used the meat for the winter, like I said, and antlers for horns and fans.
And you have a lot of the skin down here, obviously, that shows both sides of it. So obviously, was used there. Nothing went to waste, so to speak.
Yes, we use every part of it.
So we want to come over here now. We actually have some things of interest here on this table. The first one here is actually a normal turtle shell, and actually was a calendar.
Yes, it has 13 moons and 28 days, and depending on the moon, that's when we did our crops.
So basically, this would help determine the moon, the days, and when to plant the crops.
That's
just
true.
From a simple turtle shell. How interesting is that? And then we have this over here. This looks like in ordinary shells, but explain to us what these were actually used for.
That is wampum used for currency.
So this was used for currency. Wow, very interesting. So we have this here, and then explain the wampum was also used in other ways.
We have another source of wampum made from the Welch shell. We have a wampum belt and a wampum necklace.
And basically, to make this, they would take this tool here and kind of grind the piece of shell right off there and then make the necklace. And you said that this necklace here actually, if given to someone, it was a gift. It was a lot of admiration for that person.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff there. And speaking of tools that they use, you have this here, which is kind of cool. This looks like a basket, but explain what this is actually.
That's eel pot. It was made back from our elders, and the eel would get inside after it was baited and couldn't get out unless you release it. It was a form of food.
Form of food, and it would get stuck in there, and then obviously they would take it out and then eat it. So obviously it just shows the innovation that they had to make these kind of things. Stuff we take for granted nowadays that people can kind of come in and see. And speaking of coming in, we want to give people the hours they can come here and visit the museum in Millsboro. You guys are open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then on Sundays from noon to 4, closed Mondays. Admission is $3 for adults, $1 for children, so that information is there. And then the other thing we want to talk about real quick is September 8th and 9th, you guys are having a big powwow here in Millsboro. Explain the significance of the powwow.
It's a cultural event for our children to pass down the history of the Native Americans. We honor that, and
And you said a lot of tribes come from all over the country
we had
here.
40 different tribes coming to join us those days.
So a lot of good stuff here, and we'll put all that information on our website. So we thank you for letting us come by today and see all this. We really appreciate it. So Jimmy and Lisa, a lot to see in here, a lot of history of the Native Americans, so people should definitely come on down and check it out. With that said, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
You know what fascinates me? All this time we work so hard at recycling and using things efficiently, and they've been doing that for a long time.
They sure have.
So take the kids, they might say, hey, well, we try to do that. Up next on Delmar Life, we got one that's going to tickle your taste buds and set them a-tingling.
The High Spot in Cambridge is here to show us how to make their classic crab cake. Delmarva Life at its best here on Delmarva.